Hello, budget bakers. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we are making homemade strawberry jam. And this is a very economical recipe. So what I've got here is I've got 8 cups of cut up strawberries. Now, I got my strawberries on sale for $1.98 a container. So this was 3 containers, so that's $6. I have 1 pack of SureJell, so that's about $1 and change. And then I have sugar, just regular sugar, but it does call for 7 cups. That's a lot of sugar, but it's, it's still, it's still more chemical free than the jams you can buy at the store. So let's say 6, 7, probably about $8 or so to make this. And we'll see at the end how many jars we get, okay? So like I said, I already took the stems off and cut up my strawberries. And I have my sugar here. Only 2 cups is what I've got poured since we're going to need 7, and my pack of SureJell. So what I'm going to do is, we are first, this is my rice pot, but I use it for everything. So we are first going to add the strawberries into the pot. Boop. Just like that. And let me rearrange. We're going to head on over to the stove. Here we are. Welcome to the stove. So what I'm going to do is I have my strawberries here. I turned it up to like a medium high, and I'm going to add 1 pack of the SureJell to my berries. And then as the berries warm up, they're going to start to release some juice. And what I'm going to do when that starts to happen, hang on, is I have my handy dandy, what is this thing called? It's from Pampered Chef. And it like crushes the chopped meat, but you could use it for this too. It works beautifully. So once they start to release their juices, actually you could start it now, but once they start to release their juices and get softer, it's easier to crush the berries. But we can go ahead and get that started now. We're gonna let it come to a boil. And then after it comes to a boil, we are going to add our sugar. So let me tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about strawberries, strawberry picking, and strawberry jam. So I like to make this strawberry jam during the summer months because that's when strawberries are in season here in North Carolina. So typically we will go strawberry picking around Mother's Day in May. However, this year, it rained. We have been getting so much rain here this year, and it rained Mother's Day weekend, so we weren't able to go strawberry picking. Well, it seemed like every day that we had availability to go strawberry picking after that, it also rained. So all that being said, I never got to go strawberry picking this year. I'm going to turn this up just a smidge to like number 7. So I never made my jam. And I like to, like I said, keep the jam in the freezer. This way I have fresh strawberry jam throughout the winter. So here we are in almost August, but our strawberries here are still very ripe. So I was able to get 3 containers and they were on sale. So which brings me to believe that it's our ripe strawberry season is probably coming to an end. So I actually bought 4 containers, 1 to eat and 3 to make jam. So I've done strawberry blueberry jam, I've done strawberry banana jam. Strawberry banana is good. I've also done apple cinnamon jam before, and that was really tasty. So this time though, we're just doing strawberry. So I'm going to stand here and I'm going to keep this going, and then I'm going to check back in with you once it gets where it needs to get. Okay, so we're probably about 4 minutes into this process, but I wanted to bring you back here so that I can flip this around and show you what the berries look like once they start releasing their juices. Here we go. Now it's starting to boil a little bit, and I've already done some good crushing of the berries. The warmer it gets, the more juice is going to be released. And once we get it to a good consistency, like a juicy consistency with all the berries kind of chopped up, we are going to start adding our sugar. And then we're going to let that boil for about 1 minute. All right, so I will bring you back. All right, so our strawberry mixture boiled for a few minutes. And then I began adding the sugar. I have 1 more cup of sugar left to add. It was 7 cups of sugar. So this is our last cup. Let me get that mixed in. And then once it starts to boil, we're gonna boil it again for approximately a minute. And then we are going to fill our jars. So while I still have a couple of minutes, I'm gonna just make sure. I like mine chunky. I like my jam chunky. So I don't want to crush the strawberries up too much, but you do want to crush them up enough so that there's strawberry flavor in every bite. And this looks really good. I'm going to show it to you. So here we are. This is what the jam looks like after we've added our sugar and after the strawberries have rendered their juices. Ooh, it's looking good, and it's nice and chunky like I like it. So we're going to leave this for about a minute to boil. All right, friends, we are back and ready to can. So what I'm doing here is I am just removing some of the foam from the top of my jam, because after it boils with, oh, I wasn't even on there. Sorry, guys. After it boils with the sugar in it, it does create this little foam on top. So I'm just removing some of it. And then we are going, I've been letting it cool for a few minutes. It's still pretty warm, but I am going to show you how I go about canning, bottling, whatever you'd like to call it, my jam. All right, so I have this device. This is to help with canning. So I've attached this piece on the bottom. You can just use this piece. And it does fit on most of my jars, but some of my jars, it doesn't. So it's too big. So what I did was I just added this one so that I don't have to get my hands and everything else dirty. Voila. So I'm just going to take, I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to take my jam and I'm going to start filling my jars. Just like this. Now I have sanitized these jars by running them through the dishwasher on a super hot cycle. We can still add some more to that one. So when you do this, you want to make sure, and you can see me a little bit, but you want to make sure you take it all the way down to the bottom so that you're getting some of the fruit juice and the whole berries. All right, there we go. So I'm going to scoot this over to this side. And we've got one ready. So I'm going to just move it over here. And I'll move on to the next one. So really, I mean, this part of the process, you want to take your time just because you don't want to make a big mess. But none of this entire process is difficult by any means. And it's definitely saving you money, because I am going to get multiple jars of jam. And when you buy, there we go. When you buy the SureJell, there's actually directions inside of the box to help guide you through this process as well. But it always helps to see how it's done. So my jars here, clearly I've saved them from other things. So I've got a pasta sauce jar. This jar was, I think it had jam in it at one point. This one was pimento pearls. Now the thing is, when you reuse jars like this, you have to make sure that you really, really sanitize them well. Tastes good. Because you don't want any remnants of what was left in the jar left in there before you start adding your jam. All right, friends. Well, I am going to continue this process, and then I will pop back in and show you what I have done. Okay, friends, I have gotten all of my jars filled with my jam, and I've gotten everything cleaned up. Now, here's a tip for you. So while you're making the jam, you can either A, clean the pot that you used to make it, or B, make sure you fill it with warm soapy water and let it sit while you're doing other things. Otherwise, it'll be really hard to clean because of all the sugar that's included in this recipe. It'll stick and it'll just make it harder for you. So either A, clean it right away, or B, fill it with warm soapy water while you're doing other things, and then when you go to clean it, it'll clean well. Okay, so I have got 6 jars of jam. And what I do, let me see if I can show this to you here. I'm sure I can. What I do is I lay out my lids according to the jars so that I don't have to mess with it later. So I know which lid goes with which jar, and then I can just add the lids after it's cool. So the key to this is you want to make sure that you let it cool at room temp. You can lay the lid, hold on. You can lay the lid on top of the jar, but I wouldn't screw the lid on until the jam has had enough time to cool and become room temperature. So at this point, I am going to allow these to cool. I'm going to actually take that lid back off. And then once they cool, I'm going to lid them, if that's a real word. And then I'm going to put them in the freezer. I do keep mine in the freezer. They will keep up to a year in the freezer. You can also put them in the fridge, and you'll still get a couple of months out of it in the fridge. But I already have one in the fridge, and I actually have one left in the freezer from last year. So that one will be coming out next. And then I'll pack these in behind it so that I use the older one first. All right. So if you guys have any questions pertaining to anything that I did today, feel free to leave me a comment. I'll happily answer you. If you make your own strawberry jam and have little tips and tricks, or you do it a different way, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I would also love if you would like my video and subscribe to my channel. It's a free way to support your favorite creators. And thank you for being here today, making jam with me on Budget Baking Adventures. We'll be back again soon.